Hey friends! I am guessing you are here because you saw that the title was about SEO. So if you're a small business and you have no idea where to start with SEO, or you kind of know a couple things but kind of want a little bit more, this is the perfect video for you. Now I'm not going to go super into depth here. I know very basic SEO. I've been kind of implementing it through all the jobs that I've kind of had. So I know a couple little tidbits here and there, and I especially help people when they're first starting their website as well. So I thought I'd just show a couple little tips for the DIY business owners out there. So let's get right into it. So we'll start with tip number 1, optimize your websites. Time and time again, I see old school 2009 websites that are not like web optimized. People, it's 2018. Let's get those websites optimized. And there really is no excuse. You check your load time score with websites such as pingdom.com. I believe Google has a resource. You want to make sure that your website is under 3 seconds. If you can go below 3 seconds, that is amazing, but if it's over 3 seconds, that is not good. You want to make sure that the user has a seamless experience from clicking your link to the load. Which brings me to my next point. Make sure to optimize your images as well. So if you're saving them, make sure that you save them for web safe. So what that means is when you export your file, you're going to save for web. What that means is it compresses the file size down, so it takes a little less time loading. So for example, if you have a website from 2009 and you have a image that it takes over 2 minutes to load, that isn't good, because that also severely slows down the load time of your whole web page in general. Another thing to keep in mind is your web hosting. Is your web hosting the best for your business? Time and time again, I see people getting the first option that they see and or just what their friends use, but that's not always the best case. Just because it's cheap at the time doesn't mean it's the best option for your business. Case in point, if you have an e-commerce website, want a web hosting service that is known to help out e-commerce websites in their load times. So really do your research on your web hosting services before you choose the first one to come up. Tip number 2, get your website mobile friendly. Almost 79% of people nowadays use their mobile phone. Case in point, I have my phone right beside me right now. Everyone checks everything on their phone nowadays, which means even your grandma is checking her Facebook all the time. You could be missing on engagement opportunities. Plus, them Google bots are not going to be happy if your website is not mobile friendly. So, how do you check if your website is mobile friendly? Go on your website on your phone. If you're having a tough time navigating through your own website, guaranteed the user is having an even worse experience. Another thing that you can do is go on to Google. They actually have a free resource that gives you a score like good, fair, bad on how your website is performed on mobile. So you go through your website on your phone and realize, my website is really not that user-friendly on the mobile device. So what do I do now? If you have a WordPress website, you can actually download a responsive theme. Now, these responsive themes I always regularly ask people to use. Personally, I use Divi. Divi has been pretty much my go-to for a responsive theme. It makes the transition really seamless and really easy, so you don't have to really worry about editing every single little thing. But I always do recommend to constantly, regularly check your mobile device and see, is my website really user-friendly? The Google bots are looking to see if the user experience will be amazing, seamless, and easy, which leads me to my next tip. Tip number 3. Make that user experience seamless and simple and to the point. There is a reason why UI and UX has become the keyword used among the whole entire tech industry, and why it's become such a great resource for people that have a web design background to start getting into. Without going too heavy into what UI and UX is, basically, you just want to make sure that your user is having a great experience from start to finish. Because you know, those Google bots love the shit out of your customers being happy. If they are dropping off within only 30 seconds, that's a big problem. How can you tell if your customers are happy? I do recommend downloading a resource like Google Analytics and or a WordPress plugin that caters to your basic insights, just to kind of connect and see, hey, where are my customers dropping off? Where are they unhappy? Where are my biggest clicking points? Can they actually find where I'm needing to go? Which brings me to the next point of having great site architecture. Again, not going too deep because we can go into a whole new topic with UI and UX, but basically, just make sure if they are looking for something, they're going to be able to find it. So if they're looking for, say, hours of operation, if you don't have it in some place that makes sense and it's under 5,000 different clicks, guaranteed they're not going to be the most happy. If you do have, say, an e-commerce website or a lot of content, I do always recommend to maybe hire a UI UX professional just to kind of really step back and see if their user experience, especially the process of going to the cart, is awesome, because you want to make sure that they are dropping off because they can't find the cart, or they're not dropping off because they can't find where to put their credit card. So again, it's always good to step back and think how your customers are responding. Just because you think it's easy on your website doesn't mean your customer always will. A little key tip that I use is I always ask people that I know aren't as website savvy. So I'll ask people like my grandma, or I'll ask my mom, or I'll ask my dad to kind of go through my website and see, hey, are you noticing anything? There is no harm. Usually your family will be as honest, hopefully, as possible. So just give it a try and just really think about how your user is. Don't think about yourself. Think about the user. Tip number 4. Make sure to update your meta title and descriptions. You see, Google just uses default settings, so they take your basic title and a basic excerpt from your web page and just kind of put it into their results. Now, that is a big missed opportunity to put a little bit of a keyword and also to write a great description to get the user to really want to click onto that link. Personally, I use the Yoast plugin to kind of check all my meta title descriptions and also to edit it, which is great because you can enter your desired SEO keyword and they'll give you a rating to see if your meta title description and the content through that page really matches that keyword. Which leads me to my next tip. Tip number 5, install an SEO WordPress plugin. What is Yoast, you say? If you don't know what Yoast is, you really gotta get out from under that rock. It's probably one of the most popular SEO WordPress resources out there. Basically, you download it as a plugin, put it into your WordPress, and then it actually gives you a very easy experience to kind of learn as you go. So they give you a yellow light, a green light, a red light to really make it easy to say, oh hey, this page isn't doing so good, it has a red dot, you really gotta look at this. They'll even give you tips throughout, which is really awesome. So if you're really into the newbie territory, you're gonna really want to download this plugin. Now, another thing that you're going to want to do is actually go into the resources as well. They have a great blog, so if you're not feeling super confident in it, you can also check out the resources. Even in their suggestions underneath your page, they'll even have links to certain things that you don't really know about. So I really do suggest, if you are a new business owner or a small business owner, to download this right away, especially if you don't have a lot of money to contribute to an SEO expert right now. Get started with this, and trust me, you'll see a couple results. I know they do have a paid version as well. I personally have not used it, but I do have some former clients that use it on the regular, and they have seen major improvements just by following tips like that I'm giving you today, and also using the Yoast plugin as well. Tip number 6, have great content. Now, you probably have a couple marketing friends or a couple people that you know that own businesses, and they always bring this keyword up. Content, content, content. Content is king. Oh, you need some more content. But do you really need it? Well, consequently, they are not wrong. Make great content and keep those users staying on your webpage. As soon as they stay on your webpage, they spend longer time. So say they have a really engaging blog post and it takes them 5 minutes. That brings up your average rating of your average time, and Google bots are actually taking a look at that. If they see that you have this really long blog post and people are only spending 20 seconds on it and they're dropping off, the Google bots are looking at that and thinking, they're not really providing valuable content to their users. So you want to provide content that is super, super valuable to your customers. Do not provide thin content. And what thin content is when you just kind of half-ass a blog post, try to get a shit ton of keywords in there and just kind of put it up with no images, no links, it's very thin content. And or generated content. You want to avoid the generated content because, again, the Google bots are very smart nowadays. They are going to see that, hey, they're not really providing great content. That's not really the greatest. Another great thing about content is you can get keywords related to your website. You can also create captivating videos, amazing infographics that really tell a story, and basically just try to get your user engaged to your webpage. What you'll find as well, if you provide amazing content and you provide knowledge, you'll also build trust with your customer. So even though they may not be ready to make a sale with you just quite yet, as long as you're building that trust, maybe it starts with them signing up for your email subscription, and then they kind of build even more trust, and then eventually they're ready to put down the big bucks. A side little note regarding content is to make sure that your post is shareable. So make sure to have all of the social media links so that people, if they really, really like your content, they can share it to other people. Not only will that provide more possible backlinks because people are sharing your content, but it also, again, is great for those Google bots. They're saying, oh hey, people think that this content is so good that they're willing to share it. So make sure to add social media tags on there. You should really start trying to do it today. Even if you're not a great writer, there's so many resources on how you can put keywords into your blog post nowadays, and really there's no excuse not to start. If you have a company that you think, do you know what, I don't really have a lot to say, then don't be afraid to hire a copywriter and or a writer. There's so many people for so many different budgets. Just try something and see kind of if it works. Tip number 7, add appropriate image alt tags. So after Googling how to create amazing content, you have this super amazing blog post that you put all your heart and soul into. You even included nice photos. You have a little bit of a GIF. You have maybe even a little bit of a video. But the problem is, your images are labeled photo 1 or photo 2 or photo 3. Now this is a huge missed opportunity to input even more keywords into your blog post. You see, Google bots are just that. They're robots. They cannot read images. So you're going to want to make sure that you put the appropriate image tags at all times. How do you do this, you say? If you are creating your photos yourself, label them correctly under your image's photo information properties. Or if you have a WordPress website, you can always look into your media category under media, and you will see a bunch of images probably, and on the side there, on the right side, there you can actually enter and edit all your information, and I do really recommend doing this. Now, if you're like me and you just kind of want to get everything up, you kind of let everything in the back burner, it's going to take some time to go through, but I really do suggest going through and figuring out what to change. Basically, just do it. Shameless plug. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, obviously, and also subscribe to my email list. I'm actually going to be sending even more SEO resources to my email subscribers, so I'll even go even more in depth with what exactly you should be tagging your images as well. So go ahead, click that link to also become an email subscriber. Not only do I share SEO tips, I share web design tips, I share basic marketing tips, and just basically I share all the knowledge that I have gained from being a graphic designer / marketer / creative individual. Tip number 8, link it up. Now, I'm pretty sure I mentioned a couple times, especially when it was to the content, about having links. Now, links are super great, especially credible links. You want your page to not have any irrelevant links or faulty links. You see, Google is looking to see if you are linking to other reputable and credible websites as well. Once you garner more credibility yourself, you're going to want to also start acquiring backlinks. What are backlinks? Basically, let's see if I can get this right. Basically, it's when another website links your website to their website. Always a tongue twister. Basically, the bots see that as kind of like a referral of trust that, hey, this person obviously is super credible because this credible website is linking to them. So as many backlinks as you can get is great. Now, another little key thing is to make sure that all your links also work. This is a big thing. You can actually download a couple different resources to check to see if you have any 404 pages or 301 redirects with your pages. Just make sure that every link works. Just try to get as many links as possible. So if you're reading the blog post as well about my SEO tips, you'll probably notice I have a lot of links. I try to get as many credible links, and not only that, it'll help you guys out as well, because these are the tools that I personally use as well, and so you can actually directly take those links and go on and even discover even more things for yourself. Getting great backlinks does take time though. You can try guest posting on really credible websites, or you can try creating amazing top ranking content that just has to be shared, and then eventually you'll start to get the backlinks. Like right now, that is currently what I'm working on. I am working with a couple people to see if I can do some guest posting on graphic design, and basically just try to get your brand out there. That's all it really is just make sure to get your brand out there, make sure that it's a credible website that you're posting onto, and don't pay for backlinks. That's just a big no-no. Tip number 9, diversify your marketing strategies. Alright, so you have a blog. You have a great idea for content and you create that content. All your images are saved correctly and everything is web optimized. Basically, you are ready to go. You even have those links as well in your blog post. Now what? Basically, you're going to want to diversify your marketing. You're going to want to share it. Why are you sharing your blog post? This is your hard work. Be proud of what you've created. Like even me, I know I'm not the greatest in front of the camera. It's probably pretty clear and evident that I'm super nervous. I'm tripping up over my words. But just share it. What's the worst that can happen, right? You're going to want to create a plan. You're going to want to diversify what platforms you're using as well. And then after you've shared a couple posts, really step back and look at your data with them. Test out all the channels and really see what platforms are giving you the greatest investment, what people are really engaging in. Personally, for me, I find a lot of my traffic for blog related stuff is all Pinterest. So I have been going hardcore on my Pinterest. Prior, Pinterest was just an idea for my cooking and maybe a couple crafts that I thought I would do but then never did. So I've completely flipped my Pinterest to actually benefit my business. So people are actually clicking my blog post and going more into my blog post. I do occasionally share that I have a blog post up on my Instagram, but again, just looking back at the analytics, it hasn't been the best resource for me. Another thing to add is make sure that you have a call to action as well. So if you want people to share your blog post at the end of the post, make sure to add that. It is such a missed opportunity to have an amazing blog post with no end direction for the end user. So really get to, even if you don't have a email subscription just yet, get them to share the blog post. Again, you want to get as many eyes on it as possible. Traffic coming in is a good sign for the Google bots, especially with external links that are credible like social platform websites. Tip number 10, local SEO with Google. Now, I added this towards the end because it is something that I'm still getting more familiar with for my own business as well. But basically, you want to make sure that if Google has a product for your business, make sure that you're in it. So yes, you'll have Google My Business, hopefully. If you don't, really get on that because that is really important. But there's also Google Plus, which is their form of a social media platform as well. Now, again, I don't really know too much about Google Plus. just being honest, but I am signed up to it right now. So basically it's another way that I'm going to be sharing my blog posts, because the thing is, if the Google bots are seeing that you are a frequent Google user, again, it's all about trust. So really look into your Google and really see where your missed opportunities are. Also see what your competitors are doing as well when it comes to their Google, and see what they may have missed. Like for example, there's so many opportunities in Google My Business to constantly add different posts or add videos or photos to your Google My Business. Just make sure to get everything that they tell you to do. The SEO conclusion. So these are my tips that you should start implementing today if you are a small business owner. It is completely doable if you're doing this all by yourself and you don't really have a lot of money to invest in right now. You can go back and try each one of these tips one by one. If you have any questions, please let me know. I definitely do recommend subscribing to my email list and getting that even more in-depth things that you need to start doing for your business as well for SEO. But again, if you just start out with one of these things at a time, like even if it's just simple as downloading the Yoast plugin and just kind of quickly following through with what they'll do. Basically, thank you so much, guys. I'm super lucky to be able to do what I love. SEO is kind of one of those things that I've sort of gotten into kind of randomly just because a bunch of businesses would ask for me to help out with their back-end SEO, and it's been a lot of fun. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a video, share the basic tips. Again, like you can go so in depth with SEO. There's so many opportunities. If you do have a budget, I definitely do recommend hiring an SEO expert. I'm not an SEO expert. I know, again, very basic. I took in truth, I took a course at Grant MacEwan University in Edmonton for a continuing education on SEO. And SEO changes so much that all that stuff that I learned completely you can't even use. Like it's one of those things that's changing constantly, so always try to keep up on your resources. There are so many great YouTubers that do great SEO content that go even more in depth. I think there's a guy named Neil. He does really great videos as well. This was just my basic tips for small businesses to start out with. So thank you again so much for getting through this whole entire video if you did, and you are a rock star. So happy ranking, everyone. See you. And now we see the pug in her natural habitat, sleeping, always sleeping, and snoring, and sleeping.